Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. And today he's going to be talking about job and employment scams. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, always a pleasure talking with you.
Absolutely. Great to be with you again.
Your topic, job and employment scams, I think is so relevant because of all the ways individuals can send in personal information through the internet or through the email. And you never know really what scams are out there and what is legitimate.
Absolutely. I mean, people are especially vulnerable if they're out of work, or maybe they're a little older and they want something to complement their Social Security to help make ends meet. I mean, all ages are vulnerable to job and employment scams. And, the fact is that a lot of people are approached about jobs every day, or they search for jobs on fairly legitimate websites that cater to the needs of employers and potential employees. But some employers are imposters, some are scammers. So it's really important to try to spot the tactics that scammers use when you peruse the job ads. And if you're approached suddenly on social media through a direct message or through a text message or an email, we discovered your information online, we want to get to know you better, just have your guard up and do some research before you start giving out more personal information and go further into the hiring process. Keep in your mind that some of these may turn out to be scams, and do it before you give them any personal information, and certainly do it before you give them any money.
Just recently, I received my fourth or fifth request for a resume on particular positions, even though I'm retired and I don't belong to any social networks. I'm starting to get ads like that. And I often wonder, are those ads legitimate?
Well, you never know until you do some research. And that's why you got to spot some of the tactics. And I'm going to talk about 6 red flags to keep in mind when you're looking for a job. First of all, if the posting includes vague job descriptions and claims that you can make hundreds or thousands of dollars doing very little work, that might be a red flag. Sure, there are some jobs out there that are wonderful. Wouldn't we all want to be a taster at a food company, or somebody that tests out gaming equipment? But if something is vague, if something seems to pay a lot when you don't have any really intricate skills that might need to be involved in a job like that, it could be a scam. Also, if communication is from a company representative or supposed company representative using free or personal email accounts. So watch out for emails coming from gmail.com or yahoo.com or hotmail.com or the old AOL.com. Obviously, all of us have professional email addresses as well as personal email addresses. But if somebody isn't even giving you their professional address when they send in a request for more information from you, that could be a red flag that it's because they don't work for the company. They just are pretending to work for the company. Also, if you're ever hired without meeting anyone in person, I mean, even these days, close to the pandemic, and a lot of people are searching for work from home jobs. If you're only interviewed once or maybe twice in a chat room or online or using free available resources online, it could be a scam. Not always, but it could be if you're ever hired without meeting anyone in person. Also, if the company doesn't have a website, Or, if you don't see the job listed on their public website, maybe inquire as to why you can't find it on the legitimate website for that legitimate company. Also, if you receive a check before any work is performed, and we'll go into a little more of that in a minute, but if you ever asked to wire transfer money or purchase prepaid money cards, that is a red flag. Now, what I said I would go over a little bit is this whole idea of receiving a check before any work is performed. That's a way that scammers get to your pocketbook. What they'll tell you is they'll tell you there's a job offer, even though it's phony. And they'll tell you they're going to give you a check, even though it's counterfeit. And they'll tell you that check, once you're hired, is going to go to a supplier or a vendor or a merchant that is supposedly going to equip you with a laptop or with software or with some specialized office equipment, since you are taking a work from home job. Again, the problem is the check is counterfeit. And what they want you to do is deposit the check, then go buy a gift card or wire money or send your real funds to a third party. They're calling it a merchant or a supplier, but in reality, it's someone also connected with the scam. So the check's going to come back counterfeit. You just might get access to the money right away or close to right away, because banks often do that as a convenience or to comply with some internal rules. Doesn't mean the check is cleared. So if you send money, even a few days after you deposit the check, even though you have access to the money, the bank's going to come back when their security department finds out it's counterfeit and suck all that money back out of your account. So now you're out money. And you could be having to pay a bad check charge or an overdraw fee, depending on your circumstances. So watch out for checks that unexpectedly arrive or that are supposedly going to be given to you to pay for supplies or laptops or phones or anything like that.
I find that interesting, knowing that oftentimes individuals will send you coupons or things of that nature, and you're really not expecting to pay anything. And then all of a sudden, there's this charge.
Yeah, I mean, they may even tell you that they need personal information right away. Let's say your resume has your name on it. Well, then they might ask for your cell phone number, your social security number, information like your driver's license. And unless you're sure that it's legitimately that company seeking to fulfill the job, you may be handing over a lot more personal information than what's on your resume once you get into the hiring process. I mean, having said that, obviously, if you go to work for a company, eventually they're going to need your social security number before you start actually working. But again, you got to watch out. You got to look at the website from the legitimate company they say they are representing. Maybe even make a few phone calls, look for the job posting on their public website, and do that research before you give up your personal information. Because I've never given up social security numbers on a first interview or anything like that, and I don't think you should expect to. But if they seem to be really, really jumpy at the fact that they want your personal information, or if they say there's an application fee and they promise you the job, those are additional red flags that I'd watch out for.
Sometimes, Ryan, I see ads to test certain kinds of products, or they want you to do reviews on certain kinds of services. Are they legitimate?
Some are probably legitimate and some may very well be scams or quasi scams. A lot of times if it's a mystery shopper exercise, it's going to be a scam if they ask you to wire money. or to test out MoneyGram or to test out Western Union. Those are just ploys to get you to use those services, and you get rid of your real money, and you're left holding the bag because you never get paid for the shopping experience or the exercise. So if they're asking for you to do wire transfers, if they're asking you to use MoneyGram or Western Union, if they're asking you anything about gift cards, those are big red flags of a mystery shopper scam or something like that. Now, some secret shopper exercises are great and they make sense. And you get paid a little bit of money, or maybe you get a free meal out of it, but you're not going to get thousands of dollars for doing very little work. So those are red flags again. If somebody's asking you to do those types of things, you got to stay grounded, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this too good to be true? And if your answer is yes, most likely your hunch is correct.
I have seen sometimes where individuals, companies will notify you that I can sell things online, and all it requires is that I purchase, some of the items, etc., and then I'll make thousands and thousands of dollars through easy sales.
A lot of those claims are false, and that they generate little or no money for the supposed web-based businesses. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you that the people that started eBay, the people that started Amazon, the people that started all these web companies obviously have made fortunes, and there's a lot of money to be made through potential innovations in online businesses. But if somebody's asking for an application fee, if they're really more concerned about you recruiting new salespeople than actually selling the product, those are some red flags. We don't want people to get into some type of pyramid scheme where the emphasis is only on recruiting new people to go under you. And then you make commissions supposedly based off of your performance, but mostly the performance of people underneath you. A lot of people have made a lot of mistakes with home-based businesses and consultations that where they have to buy a lot of the product themselves and then hopefully sell it off to make a profit. If that diet pill, or if that gizmo, or if that plan falls apart, a lot of times you're out the money. And a lot of times training can cost a lot of money with some of these supposed web-based businesses as well. Again, I'm not going to naysay every single opportunity out there, but you just got to look for the red flags, and you got to talk to people that supposedly have gone before you and either successfully or unsuccessfully completed some of these jobs and some of these businesses. You can look for the name of the product or the name of the business, along with words like scam or complaint or hiring ripoff or whatever you want in search engines to find out what the online reputation is of a particular product or multi-level marketing item or pyramid scheme topic or things like that. You can also go to the Better Business Bureau. Use them to your advantage by seeing if these companies are legitimate. There's also websites out there where you can where people actually post their interview results for companies and talk about whether a company is legitimate, whether it's too good to be true. In addition, the Ohio Attorney General's office, my office, has all of our complaints against companies as a public record. So if you want to know if there have been complaints about a product or service, you can come to our office, find out whether there's been a lot of complaints about a company, whether it involved hiring or whether it was their product that may be the problem. And you can find out a lot more when you dig deep and look at our records, the Better Business Bureau, as well as online reputations.
There's a lot of different social networks. Some of them are business networks where you can register your information, and what you're hoping to do is to link into other individuals who are looking for possible positions. I know that oftentimes these are legitimate, but I think we put in too much information, personal information, in some of these social websites. And next thing you know, we can't figure out how somebody else got our information.
I think you're exactly right. There's a lot of oversharing that happens on social media, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or Pinterest or Snapchat or Twitter or YouTube. We tell a lot of people things about us, including people that we don't think will find out. I always tell high school students when I help them with cybersecurity, I always caution them that if they think that some message or that some photo is only going to their friends, before you send it, pretend like it's going out to the rest of the world. And if you'd be ashamed or embarrassed, don't post it for your friends to see either, because you don't know who's doing screenshots. You don't know who's archiving websites. You don't know who's doing those types of things. And you may be stuck in a situation where what you've said even 2 or 3 years ago may live on forever and have a new life by people reposting it, or by folks that are simply interested in gossip and not interested in your legitimate career opportunities.
I think that's so true. We are seeing more and more larger companies do checks on the different social networks, and going back through history, and individuals are not being hired because of some of those background checks, and we don't know why we were not selected.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of times a company in the interview process will see if a potential applicant is a good fit for that division or that department. That's sort of an ambiguous term, fit, but they may pry into your background. They may pry into your social media to simply evaluate whether you goofed off a lot in high school, whether you have criminal elements to you, whether you hang out with people that you would want to be associated with. All those types of things can fit into the hiring process these days. Obviously, you have civil rights and lots of other protected categories. But, beyond that, a lot of times hiring managers will do research. They may even ask you for your password to social media to find out as much about you as humanly possible. And that's really up to the applicant as to whether to provide it. I certainly wouldn't do that unless I know for sure that it's the legitimate company. And even then, you got to be careful, and you got to be cyber secure and to do wise computing. And a lot of that is not divulging passwords and personal information to folks whenever possible.
We're in high school on social media, and then when we were in college on social media, and then when we were looking for a job, the past can really catch up to you very quickly, because we aren't the same person that we are now that we were in high school.
Absolutely. These days, with so many positions requiring the use and the familiarity with online technology, with websites, with social media. I mean, there are whole positions out there that deal with trying to be influencers in social media and trying to get the word out through social media. And the last thing you want to do is convince someone not to hire you because you've been you've overshared a lot, or you've been too you look like a risky hire based on video clips on YouTube, or posts you've made on Instagram, or things you've done and what you've favored on LinkedIn or something like that. You want to cast a wide net a lot of times and have people really expect professionalism from you, when some people's behavior online is precisely the opposite. And so if you don't want it known by everybody, don't post it. and don't give out passwords, and do other things to keep a clean computer, but also keep a clean profile of yourself. So if somebody Googles you online, what are they going to see? Are they going to see someone that you would want to hire? Or are they going to see someone you'd want to stay away from if they walked into a room?
Suppose I'm interested in sending my resume to 8, 9, 10 different positions. I send their resumes through the legitimate means, etc. Is that information safe?
Well, it really depends. I mean, if you're sending things like your personal identifying information through free public Wi-Fi, it may not be safe. And you don't know how secure your library is, even though I love public libraries. You don't know what you are in for if your network is not your home Wi-Fi network, or at least using a cell phone signal. If you're at a coffee shop, if you're at a fitness center, if you're at the mall, if you're at the library, think twice before you send any personal identifying information over their free public Wi-Fi. Save it till you get home. And maybe that means investing some money in a home Wi-Fi network if you don't have one. It may be buying a VPN access, virtual private network, which encrypts the information you're putting online. VPNs and home Wi-Fi networks and cell phone signals are going to be more secure, or at least a better bet to be more secure than free public Wi-Fi at the rec center, or free public Wi-Fi at the hotel or the airport. So really get yourself equipped to get a job by setting yourself up to not have violations of your privacy and security. And also even look for little things in yourself, like the email address you use. That can tell a little bit about your maybe tell about your background. Maybe it'll tell whether you're professional or not. I mean, if your email address is, hotdude@yahoo.com, is that somebody that's seriously looking for a professional job? Or is it somebody where their resume is going to hit the circular file as soon as it gets through the network? We want people to really appear professional and do a good job in these interviews, assuming it's a legitimate company and a legitimate interviewer to begin with. So researching the company, finding out more information about your interviewer, doing all that due diligence is very, very important when you're seeking a job at a time when you're very vulnerable as well, because you need extra money, you want funds, you want to be able to enjoy life and make ends meet. So people that are searching for a job, I think, are particularly vulnerable regardless of their age. And in fact, recent research shows that people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are scammed more often, generally more often, not just with job scams, but overall scams, than people that are in their 60s and 70s. Now, older people usually are unfortunately victimized, but with more money at stake. But I mean, there's people that have lost their whole life savings from scams. But younger people are definitely vulnerable and approachable by scammers. And so we want people to be aware and to be safe out there.
The state of Ohio Attorney General, you have a lot of different publications on a variety of different scams. Care to share the listening audience how you can get those and possibly get a free newsletter whenever they're available?
Absolutely. And I also put a plug in for the career section on our website. You can see what we're looking for out there at the Ohio Attorney General's office. But our website is ohioprotects.org. Or if you want the big website that encompasses the whole office, not just my consumer protection section, but the whole office, it's www.ohioattorneygeneral.gov. That's where our career section is, and that's where you can go about all the different sections of the office. The Help Center is the same for all the sections of the Attorney General's office. So whatever your needs are, whatever you need from our office, you can always give them a phone call. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. is typically when they're answering phones, and their phone number is 800-282-0515. That's 800-282-0515, and that's the Ohio Attorney General's Office Help Center. We even have chat features online as well at ohioattorneygeneral.gov. So if you're doing computing during business hours and you just want to chat with someone from our constituent services section, there is online chat programming available on our main website.
And the publications are easy to find?
Absolutely. If you just go to ohioattorneygeneral.gov or ohioprotects.org, you'll see a publications tab on the big website, or you'll see a learn about fraud tab on ohioprotects.org, I believe. So, and if you have any trouble finding anything, you can always call that Help Center. And if you need someone to mail you publications, if you're part of a business or a community that needs bulk publications, let us know through those channels as well, and we can actually send you some supply of our brochures if we do have those available. Some of the items online are online only. Many of them are printed though, and we can send out supplies to interested consumers and businesses.
In addition to that, you meet with individuals either through the Zoom or at meetings.
Absolutely. We can do in-person presentations. We also do virtual presentations. Now, if it's in person, it involves us driving and everything, which is fine, but we want at least 20 or more people in the audience. And if you have fewer than that, you might want to opt for a virtual presentation where we have no minimums. But everything is free that we do. We work for the state. We work for you. So everything we do is free. You can get all of our free services online or through our toll-free number, and that includes getting a consumer educator like myself out to your community to talk about consumer scams, identity theft, cybersecurity, knowing your rights and being a smart shopper. All those topics are presentations that we give throughout the year in your community. So let us know how we can help.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, great information, and thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it.